Is her behaviour the reason why her popularity is plummeting?
What behaviour? Okay, listen, let me just level set.
Well, there was
here.
the whole car chase thing, the podcast thing.
Let me just level set here, okay, Alexis? Okay, let's understand this. Where's the camera? People, listen to me very carefully, because I shall say this only once. Nobody gives a flying flamingo how you feel about Meghan Markle.
Broke into a sweat there.
I'm sorry, but her popularity was never high in the first place. If it's gone down by 2% or another 5%, Meghan doesn't care. Nobody cares, because the foundation upon which this dislike is built on is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, she has been quiet since January 2020. I think since their documentary in November. It is Harry that came out with his book in January. It is Harry that was doing the string of, interviews around the world. It's Harry that's, constantly in the papers now because of the legitimate action it's taken against the papers. She said absolutely nothing, and you still don't like her. The problem here is not Meghan Markle. The problem here is you. So leave the woman or take her name out of your mouths. Thank you. I'm still wasting my time.
Andrew, would you like to address our viewers? Camera fall, there we go.
I suspect this is the real reason the Spotify podcast series has been cancelled by Spotify, because they worked out that in America too, her popularity has plummeted. The Newsweek poll showed the only other royal less popular than Meghan and Harry was Prince Andrew. Blimey, that's quite an achievement. Barely more popular than Prince Andrew, who, remember, has been banned from public life for giving £12 million to a woman he claims he never met.
OK, but
you have no facts or evidence to back up assertion.
The reason of the unpopularity is, I mean, you mentioned, for instance, the so-called car chase, where they authorised their people to describe it was nearly a catastrophic, and talk about a 2.5-hour high-speed car chase across Manhattan. Have you ever been to Manhattan? You can't do a 2.5-hour high-speed car chase across Manhattan. They made it up and they exaggerated.
No, they did not.
And it was appalling, because they were invoking the memories of what happened to Harry's mother in the Paris underpass, which was a terrible thing when she was being pursued by the paparazzi. It was disgraceful what they did.
All right. But Andrew, as someone who writes for the Daily Mail...
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, very fond of...
Lying.
I would be very careful.
Untruths, fabrications.
Now, hang on.
The writ will be in the post.
They are very fond of Meghan stories. I mean, here's a genuine question. Do people still care? Because we're talking about someone who's nowhere near the throne. They're not part of the royal family. They don't even live in this country.
They are part of the royal family. They're just not...
OK, sorry, apologies, you're correct. They're not a working royal. They're not drawing any money from the public purse. Why are we still talking about Meghan? Well, I realise that this is odd, because I am talking about Meghan, but I'm wondering, why are others talking about
Harry
Meghan?
used to be one of the most popular members of the royal family, and people will never forget that enduring image of him, of that little boy following his mother's funeral cortege. It's etched in all our minds and hearts, isn't it? But that couple have spent the last couple of years, for vast amounts of money, slagging off the royal family, and I think it's damaged her popularity enormously. They've slagged off the King, they've slagged off the Camilla Parker Bowles, who's the Queen Consort, Queen Camilla, and William and Kate, and I think people don't like it. They've been doing it for money.
But he hits the nail on the head when he said, about the what was the emotion that Harry evokes, in people because of what happened when he was younger and his mum. But the reality here is, I think that the British people, because we're only talking about some British people, not all British people, these British people that hate Meghan, they're actually quite angry with Harry. But rather than take out their anger on Harry, they're passing it on and projecting it on Meghan. They're blaming her that she's that woman that's caused all this. If she hadn't come into this, none of this would happen, which is utter nonsense. This is the point.
But look at the polls for Harry too.
Meghan has done nothing.
OK, Harry's popularity has gone up.
However, it's still in hugely negative territory.
But it's still gone up since January.
He's gone from minus 40% negative to minus 36. Not very good figures.
He still
is almost
Every
as popular as
journey
Uncle
starts with
Andrew.
a step.
Harry and Meghan do not care. I personally don't care. And I think this conversation about polls is utterly a waste of our time.
Can I say, if they didn't want to be royal, why did they take Prince and Princess titles for their children?
It is his by right, by blood.
Princess Anne's children have no titles. She took that decision. Harry could have done the same. They want the royalty. Meghan wants her kids to be princes. Of course she does.
Let me pause you there. Sandra has called from Kent. Sandra, good afternoon. What do you make of the polling? Is it something that is just inherent? Are people disliking Meghan for whichever reason, but then sort of their opinion of... Is it because they care too much about Harry, as Andrew says?
I think it's I think to start with, Harry was very popular. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Harry was very popular, and when they got married, Meghan, was popular. Everyone was excited for them. But it soon changed when I think she realised, she had quite a lot of work to do being a royal. And I also think she went back to America thinking, oh, look, I've got one of the Prince of England here, and thought she'd be Miss Popularity over there. I still think she's an actress. I mean, the car chase in New York. How can you do a car chase in New York?
I've seen it in films.
Yes, quite.
I'm sorry. Sandra had me at, she saw how much work the royals have to do. The royals do what work exactly? Please, Sandra. Why don't you explain to the rest of the country what work exactly do they do that is so hard that Meghan Markle will come in and go, oh my God, this is so much work. You're talking about an independent woman, a woman who rose from, she came from a working class background. She was a millionaire in her own right, an independent woman. And you're saying that she came into the royal family? I was like, oh my God, you're doing so much work. No. Even now, I'm sorry, is it shaking hands? Is it appearing at events?
Okay,
you call that work?
No, I think you're wrong there. I think you're just looking at when you see them on TV. But they do a lot of charity work. They organise a lot of things. They go to many, many
they have
events.
People who organise that.
But Meghan,
they show up.
Let me finish. I did interrupt you.
Okay, Sandra.
But Meghan, from the start, made problems with the wedding and what Kate's daughter was wearing and what crown she wanted to wear. From the start, she wants everything her own way.
Sandra,
hang on. But Sandra wasn't there.
Let me just... Sandra, do you worry, perhaps, sometimes, and I'm very conscious that Andrew's here, but do you worry sometimes that these stories are perhaps...
Lies?
No, that's not the word I will use.
This is what I'm using?
That these stories are perhaps exaggerated or, let's use another word, spun, because they sell papers. They make... they're sort of... They create an environment where you can have tension. I mean, do you really care if she asks for a dress to be changed or whatever? I don't even know the stories, but does it matter to you?
Well, yes, because...
In a fiery exchange on Jeremy Vine's talk show, Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamimu and Andrew Pierce engaged in a heated verbal sparring match that laid bare the deep divisions surrounding Meghan Markle's public perception. Pierce, known for his critical stance towards the Duchess of Sussex, attempted to diminish her popularity, only to be met with Dr. Mos-Shogbamimu's fierce and unapologetic defense of Meghan's impact and significance. The confrontation epitomized the ongoing media narrative that has relentlessly scrutinized Meghan's every move, with Pierce representing the traditional British media perspective and Dr. Mos-Shogbamimu championing a more progressive, nuanced understanding of her cultural influence and challenges. Their clash was more than just a disagreement. It was a microcosm of the broader societal debates about race, privilege, and representation that Meghan Markle has come to symbolize in the public discourse. The heated debate Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamimu confronts Andrew Pierce on Meghan Markle's public image. In a fiery exchange that epitomizes the ongoing media discourse surrounding Meghan Markle, Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamimu and Andrew Pierce clashed dramatically on the Jeremy Vine on 5 show, revealing the deep-seated tensions and polarized perspectives regarding the Duchess of Sussex's popularity. The segment quickly escalated from a measured discussion to an intense confrontation, with Mos-Shogbamimu passionately defending Meghan against what she perceives as persistent media vilification, while Pierce maintained a critical stance typical of British tabloid commentary. Their verbal sparring highlighted the broader narrative surrounding Meghan's public perception, a complex landscape marked by racial dynamics, media bias, and intense public scrutiny that continues to challenge traditional royal reporting norms. The confrontation served as a microcosm of the larger societal debate about Meghan's role, treatment, and significance within the British royal ecosystem, demonstrating how personal opinions and systemic prejudices can dramatically shape public discourse. Royal controversy: the multifaceted life of Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, represents a transformative figure in the contemporary royal narrative having transitioned from a successful acting career in Hollywood to becoming a prominent member of the British royal family through her marriage to Prince Harry. Her journey is marked by unprecedented complexity. A biracial American actress who challenged traditional royal protocols and emerged as a global icon of modern feminism and social advocacy. Unlike previous royal spouses, Markle brought her own established professional identity, having starred in the popular legal drama Suits and built a significant personal brand before joining the Windsor family. Her background as a self-made actress, humanitarian and independent professional distinguished her from the more traditionally groomed royal consorts, creating both intrigue and tension within the deeply entrenched royal institution. Her marriage to Prince Harry symbolized more than a personal union. It represented a potential modernization of the British monarchy, challenging long-standing racial and cultural boundaries, while simultaneously attracting unprecedented global media attention. The tabloid war media bias and Meghan Markle's public perception. Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamimu, a prominent legal and political commentator, has consistently stood as a fierce defender of Meghan Markle, challenging the relentless and often racist narrative propagated by British tabloids. On Jeremy Vine's show, she passionately argued that Meghan has been subjected to unprecedented levels of media scrutiny and discrimination, not merely as a public figure, but specifically as a woman of colour entering the traditionally rigid British royal family. Her robust defence highlights the systemic racism embedded in media coverage, where Meghan is consistently portrayed through a lens of criticism and negativity, despite her genuine efforts to contribute positively to royal duties and public discourse. By calling out these discriminatory practices, Dr. Mos-Shogbamimu exposes the deep-rooted biases that have sought to marginalize and delegitimize Meghan's experiences, popularity, and significant contributions, ultimately revealing more about the inherent prejudices within British media than about Meghan herself. The media's relentless crusade, dissecting the Meghan Markle debate. In the charged arena of British media discourse, Andrew Pierce emerges as a quintessential critic, launching a scathing assault on Meghan Markle's perceived popularity and public persona. With the trademark razor-sharp rhetoric of a seasoned commentator, Pierce methodically dismantles what he views as an undeserved and artificially constructed public image, arguing that Markle's acclaim is more a product of media manipulation than genuine substantive achievement. His perspective reflects a deeply entrenched skepticism rooted in traditional British media narratives that have consistently challenged the Duchess of Sussex's legitimacy within the royal ecosystem, questioning not just her actions, but the very foundation of her public standing and influence. The Meghan Markle popularity controversy, a heated on-air confrontation. In a fiery exchange on Jeremy Vine on 5, the long-standing tension between Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamimu and Andrew Pierce erupted into a full-blown debate over Meghan Markle's public appeal, with the two pundits presenting diametrically opposed views on the Duchess of Sussex's popularity. Pierce, known for his critical stance towards the royal couple, attempted to downplay Meghan's influence, while Dr. Shola passionately defended her, arguing that Meghan's global impact and ability to connect with diverse audiences represented a transformative moment for the traditionally rigid British royal institution. The heated discussion quickly escalated, revealing the deep-seated divisions in media narratives about Meghan, with each commentator wielding their own interpretation of her public persona and significance, ultimately reflecting the broader societal discourse surrounding race, privilege, and representation in the modern royal landscape. The undercurrents of racism, Meghan Markle's media battle. The clash between Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamimu and Andrew Pierce on Jeremy Vine's show reveals far more than a mere media disagreement. It exposes the deeply entrenched racial prejudices that have systematically targeted Meghan Markle since her entry into the British royal family. The visceral reactions from certain media personalities unmask a troubling narrative of white privilege and institutional racism, where a biracial woman who challenges traditional monarchical norms becomes an immediate target for vilification. By consistently questioning Meghan's legitimacy, popularity, and right to speak her truth, commentators like Pierce demonstrate a textbook example of how societal power structures attempt to marginalize and silence voices of color, particularly those who refuse to be constrained by historical expectations. The ongoing media assault is not merely about Meghan Markle as an individual, but represents a broader systemic issue where race continues to dictate acceptance, credibility, and the right to be heard in contemporary British society. The unrelenting media assault on Meghan Markle, a tale of bias and prejudice. The British media's treatment of Meghan Markle represents a disturbing narrative of systematic vilification that goes far beyond legitimate criticism, revealing a deeply entrenched pattern of racial bias and calculated character assassination. From the moment she entered the royal sphere, Meghan has been subjected to a relentless barrage of negative coverage that systematically deconstructs her character, motivations, and very existence within the British establishment. The tabloid machinery, led by publications like the Daily Mail, has consistently manufactured narratives that paint her as an outsider, a troublemaker, and a threat to the traditional royal ecosystem, employing dog-whistle tactics that thinly veil racist undertones and deliberate misrepresentations of her actions and intentions. These media outlets have repeatedly weaponized her American background, her biracial identity, and her independent spirit as perceived transgressions against the rigid protocols of royal tradition, creating a toxic environment where her every move is scrutinized, criticized, and maliciously reframed to serve a predetermined narrative of disruption and dysfunction. The media circus, Meghan Markle's divisive public persona. The clash between Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamimu and Andrew Pierce on Jeremy Vine's show laid bare the stark divide in public sentiment surrounding Meghan Markle, revealing a brittle landscape of polarized opinions that mirror the broader media narrative. Where supporters like Dr. Shola passionately defended the Duchess as a victim of systemic racism and media persecution, detractors such as Pierce doubled down on criticism, painting her as a disruptive figure within the royal establishment. Social media erupted in a cacophony of heated exchanges, with supporters and critics trading increasingly vitriolic comments, transforming what began as a televised debate into a microcosm of the larger cultural war surrounding Meghan's public image. The segment encapsulated the profound ideological chasm that has emerged, where Meghan Markle has become less an individual and more a symbolic battleground for discussions about race, privilege, monarchy, and media representation, with audiences seemingly unable to find middle ground in their increasingly entrenched positions. The royal family's precarious balance image, reputation, and the Meghan effect. The ongoing public discourse surrounding Meghan Markle exposes a fragile fault line within the British monarchy, threatening to unravel decades of carefully curated royal narrative. The sustained media assault and internal familial tensions risk eroding the institution's traditional veneer of unity and infallibility, potentially undermining public perception and the monarchy's relevance in contemporary society. Each controversial debate, like the recent clash between Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamimu and Andrew Pierce, serves as a microcosm of larger systemic issues. The royal family's struggle to adapt to modern social expectations, confront historical prejudices, and maintain its cultural significance in an increasingly diverse and scrutinizing world. The repercussions extend far beyond individual personalities, signaling a critical moment of reckoning for an ancient institution desperately trying to remain both respected and relatable in the 21st century. The media's relentless battle, Dr. Shola versus Andrew Pierce on Meghan Markle's public perception. In the aftermath of the heated debate on Jeremy Vine on 5, it becomes increasingly clear that the discourse surrounding Meghan Markle remains a deeply polarized landscape, where passionate arguments reflect broader societal tensions about race, media representation, and royal dynamics. Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamimu's spirited defense of Meghan against Andrew Pierce's critical narrative encapsulates the ongoing struggle between those who view the Duchess as a victim of systemic racism and media vilification, and those who perceive her as a divisive figure challenging traditional royal protocols. The clash serves as a microcosm of larger conversations about privilege, media bias, and the complex intersection of race, gender, and public persona, ultimately highlighting how Meghan Markle continues to be a lightning rod for broader social debates, with her popularity remaining a contentious and emotionally charged topic, that reveals deep-seated cultural fault lines within British society.